I'm a blogger. Blogging is dead in 2020. I'm a blogger. Blogging is all about gossip. Blogging is a waste of time. Welcome back to Cynthia Untamed. This is your youthful and educational platform. If you have not yet checked my digital platform, check it out, CynthiaUNTAMED.com. I amplify the voices of young change makers, influencers, and mobilizers in Africa. Just so you know, blogging is a really good way to start for people who are not comfortable with video. I started with a blog and right now I've started doing videos because I'm now comfortable on camera. If you want to get a blog, there are tons of free sites. There's WordPress, there's Google Blogs, there's so many free sites, but I really like WordPress. So just to get it, you just need to Google wordpress.com and you create an account, you create your own domain. It's better for you to have it as a .com website just so that it's global. So you can have it as CynthiaUntamed.com like me, but to get that you have to pay. So the first thing you need to do is you need to search for a web hosting platform. I use kenyawebhost.org. That is what I have been using for the last 4 years. So you just search it, then you come up with a name that you really like. Once you have it, you search it on the web hosting site and see if it's available. If it is available, then all you need to do is pay for it. If you're using kenyawebhost.org, then all you need is M-Pesa or your credit card or your debit card. It's really simple and it costs just about 3,100 shillings for the simplest kind of web hosting platform like mine. So the first thing you need to do when you're starting a blog in 2020 is get rid of the perfection syndrome. When I began, I always felt like my writing just wasn't good enough, my pictures weren't good enough. I kept comparing myself to other platforms that existed at the time, and I kept feeling that mine was not enough. But what I told myself is that I just had to start. So start today, start with a paragraph, start with 2 paragraphs, and let me be honest, you will get better with it in time. What you also need to do is identify a topic that you'd really like to talk about. So you could be talking about Christian motivation, you could talk about women empowerment, you could talk about fashion, you can talk about so many different topics. Find a topic that you can easily relate to and there is a gap in the market. So like for me, I identified a gap in the market, which was the stories of young mobilizers and influencers in Africa. And I felt like these stories were not being told. The unknown stories, not those stories you'll just Google and find, the unknown, authentic stories on the ground. So I identified that gap and I started looking for the stories of those young people that I could feature. Make sure that your blog has really good images. When I began, I used to collect photos from the people I was featuring, but some of the photos were not as high resolution, and this is something I didn't pay much attention to until I moved my blog from the other previous design. If you have seen the previous design, you know how it looked, to the current one that I have, and the images really had low resolution on the current site. So that is something I would advise. Start from the beginning with high quality photos. If you have a camera, take pictures. If you have a phone with high resolution camera, make sure you take really good pictures. And even if you request for photos from the people you're featuring or the items you're featuring, make sure they are really high resolution. But if you really can't get good images, there are many platforms on Google where you can get free images. I like to use Pixabay. Pixabay has a lot of free images, high resolution images. You can also use the Creative Commons license. Just check and see that the images are free and especially free for commercial use. Then you can use those images and that way you'll have high resolution images on your blog. You also need to identify the average reading duration of your target audience. So like for me, when I initially began, I realized that my blog posts were very long, up to sometimes 1,500 words. And when I started doing my own research, speaking to the people who are reading, yes, they were reading, but they were not reading the full blog. So what I did, I started going deeper into the story, but making sure that my story was really highlighting the key points of my feature story. So right now, if you look at my stories are way shorter, between 500 and 700 words. And right now I'm able to pass my messages in a clear and concise manner. Be your own cheerleader. People will not cheer you as you blog if you're not cheering for yourself. So once you write something, put it on your WhatsApp status, put it on your Facebook status, put it everywhere. Let the world see what you are doing. Be confident. When I initially began, there are people who said probably I was just talking to them because I was just sharing my link. Honestly, that was never the intention, but I also began to learn the people who were very welcoming and accommodating to see the work that I was doing. So don't be afraid of marketing yourself. Tell people what you do. Don't be ashamed of the work that you are doing. There are so many myths, like I told you, about blogging. People think it's just about gossiping. So for example, I remember I was in an event a while back and I met like this person, and I really wanted to talk to the person, and I introduced myself as someone who has a blog, and immediately they did not want to talk to me. But imagine, I realized it was just because a lot of people think blogging is all about gossiping, but you have to stand, you have to be confident in yourself and talk about the work that you're doing. And so for me, I stood my ground and I continued explaining what I was doing. And the moment I said I amplify the stories of young change makers in Africa, that person stopped. I just saw the immediate change of reaction on their face, and immediately they started listening to the work that I am doing. So do not be ashamed of saying what you do. This is a very good space where you can build your career, you can build your digital brand. So don't be ashamed. People who feel ashamed of the work that they are doing, then sometimes I have felt like that because of what people say, but you have to be very confident in yourself. Nobody will be confident in you until you believe in yourself. You also need to build your personal brand as you blog, and these are things that people think are very small. They're not necessarily the most important when you're starting, but as you grow, they're really important. So your brand colors, the story you tell yourself, you tell people, and you tell yourself, how you introduce yourself. So for example, when I started my initial blog was pink in color, for example, pink and turquoise blue. And because those are the colors I really like, they represent my personality and who I am. My previous logo was very female-like in nature because it represented who I am. But as I continued and I started doing a survey with people say that they feel that the blog is about me. They want the blog to represent the stories of Africa, the stories that I am trying to tell. So until you do a market research, you will not be able to understand this. So I even went ahead and asked them, what colors would you like to see? And people were very clear that they wanted neutral colors so that the platform does not just look like it's a women's platform. Truly, my platform is about men and women. So then I had to neutralize my colors and bring out the overall perspective of Africa. If you check it right now, it's a really big improvement. It may not matter so much when you're beginning, but it truly does matter as people get to know about the work that you are doing. So always be ready for feedback and be ready for change. This is a tip for people who want to write stories, and especially social change stories. So when you begin, don't have the motivation of money in your mind. I know a lot of people, yes, are looking for money and all that, but to be honest, if you're writing about social change stories, and especially stories of the most vulnerable, if your only aim is to make money, look for something else. Write about something else. Write about businesses or something else, because truly this may not be the way for you, because you won't start making money immediately. Let me just be very, very honest. You won't start making money very immediately. So sit down with yourself, write your objectives, say what you're looking for first. Are you looking to make money first, or are you looking to make an impact first? And for me, I really had to decide that the first thing I wanted to do was to make an impact. And people will make fun of you. People will be like, you're wasting your time. How can you just be here writing free stories? But to be honest, if you're writing the story of a vulnerable youth in Kibera, or the story of a vulnerable youth in South Africa, how are you going to ask them to pay you? Like, it does not make a lot of sense when you do that. And I feel like if you're writing about social change, don't have the motivation of money to begin with. Making money is good, but don't have it as the first thing in your mind. Alternatively, then, how do you make money if you're blogging about social change issues? Have a day job. Have a job that you do every day that brings in some money. Now, the advantage that I had is I started blogging when I was in my second year. So it was really easy for me to not think about money so much then, because I was in school. All I needed to do was concentrate and do well in class. So I really had the time not to think about so many burdens, and I was also staying at home, so it was really good for me. So then that's how I managed to prioritize on social change stories. But then now, as I finished university, then I realized I need a real job that brings me money, but I'm still able to make social change impact stories. There are also other ways that you can make money, and the biggest way really is brand collaboration. I have not yet started doing that because really I wanted to build this brand that people recognize first. That was really the first thing I wanted to do, to advocate, to bring change, to have tangible impact before I started thinking of money. But the best way of doing it is doing brand collaboration. So for example, you can partner with let me give an example of Red Cross. I have not worked with Red Cross, but let me give it as an example. So maybe Red Cross is doing a particular project. You have an audience that you can easily reach that they may not be able to reach through their own website, through their own social media. So you partner with them, you write the stories for them, and they pay you. That's the biggest way of earning. And make sure you have a contract with these organizations, big or small. You don't have to start like from international organizations. You can start from local ones. Have a written agreement. Even if you're not being paid, even if it's pro bono, still make sure you have a contract that you can always refer to and say, I gave these services. Yes, they were pro bono, but these were the terms and the conditions. This is how my platform gets to benefit. This is how your platform gets to benefit. It really does help, so that also you build credibility even as you go on and as you build your networks. Now remember, I say that initially when you're beginning, don't have the aspect of money in your head. But I'm not saying just do it, just blog and then go on with live, blog, go on with live. No, build a brand around it. Build a narrative around your platform. So let me give a personal example. When I started this platform, I was really targeting vulnerable youth. But in my head, I kept saying, I hope that this platform will enable me now to access organizations where I can work on the ground with children and the youth in Kenya. And I thought of many organizations like Ford Foundation, UN, like even like the commercial, in the corporate space like Unilever, because I was thinking about like hand washing, or Palm Olive is all about dental care. So imagine if I have a niche in dental care for children. So those are the things that I was thinking about. So I just kept writing. I was very, very consistent. Now in 2017, coincidentally, a friend of mine saw an opportunity by UNICEF, and they were looking for a young person between the ages of 18 to 22, and this person had to be very good in writing, had to be very good in public speaking, and was willing to go to South Africa for like 5 days. Who doesn't want that? So imagine that opportunity just came at the right time. I was in 4th year at the time. Wait, was I in 3rd year or 4th year? Somewhere there. And my friend just told me, just apply for it. So I applied for it, and then I was shortlisted for the interview. And then they asked me, so what do you do? So I talked about this platform that I have that advocates for the rights of children and youth. And can you imagine, I got that opportunity. That was the first time I flew out of Kenya. And after that, I kept building my network with UNICEF. And right now I've been working at UNICEF as a youth advocate for the last 2 years. That has been a very great starting point for me. I am still not sure of what the future holds, but that has been a very great platform, because at UNICEF I've been able to nurture my writing skills, because now I was working under like 2-3 communication officers where I constantly write and they have to review my writing. So my writing got better. I've been able to go like to the field to see the lives of children and young people, to see what really affects them, to see their needs. And you see, my brand has kept growing in that perspective. So yes, I am doing a full-time job, but it is also because of what I had initially started while I was at the university. A second example is, while I was still working at UNICEF, there was an initiative that started. It's called Generation Unlimited, and basically it is a partnership between the United Nations, civil society, corporate and governments to empower young people across the world through education, employment, entrepreneurship. And someone just referred me. I still do not know who that person is, but someone referred me because they were looking for young people who could be youth ambassadors from their countries. And basically our role is to advise Generation Unlimited on the needs of young people. So someone referred me and I got that opportunity. And right now I am the Generation Unlimited Global Youth Ambassador. And you see, that is an honor because then you're able also to get like advisory roles in international organizations, which is why I'm telling you, if you're really focusing on social impact change, don't just think about the money. Think about the overall brand narration, the overall brand results. Think about those angles, and trust me, the opportunities and the money will just start coming slowly. Nothing happens overnight, so be patient. Don't expect to be a millionaire as a blogger. That is not going to happen. It is not going to happen unless maybe like you're really famous, you've been working in the media already. But if you're starting from zero, please be patient with the journey and start really early. If you can start while you are at the university, even better, because you can imagine you have between 4 and 6 years to make mistakes, to grow, to get feedback, you know, to network, to try everything. You can write about fashion today, then tomorrow you start writing about social change, the next day you start writing about something else, you start writing about technology. You can switch and see what you like and what your audience also is receptive to. Another tip to start blogging in 2020 is for you really to integrate different types of media. When I initially began, I was only comfortable with writing. To be honest, I was not comfortable with doing videos. I was just like, no. But right now, I'm very confident on camera. I'm one of those people who are called photogenic people and people who look good on camera. I really love cameras. So what you also need to do that might really help right now is to also integrate different modes. So for example, when I started writing, I wasn't doing videos, but right now I'm trying to integrate videos on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel over here. If you've seen over the last couple of days, I've been very consistent, just so that whoever is going to read my content online can also say, oh, but I'd also like to see a video, I'd like to see an interview, I'd like to see other video formats. And still on the same page, you can access my Instagram and you can still access my YouTube. So try and integrate different modes. If you're not comfortable on camera, also try podcasts. There's so many platforms that you can use to just with audio, imagine. And even here on YouTube, what you can do is like you can record the audio, then just put images if you're not comfortable with speaking on camera. That really does help. I have a bonus point. So what can also help you is also stay in touch with the current issues. So I have been amplifying stories for a while now, but right now, because of the coronavirus pandemic, I'm also trying to amplify the stories of young people who are especially working to improve their communities now during a pandemic. So you see, when you also niche down and stay relevant to current affairs, it helps. And also how you can stay relevant to current affairs is also be in touch with the news. They say, oh, news is boring and all that, it has politics. It's true, but if you see like something interesting, if it's about like teenage pregnancies, for example, look at those issues, see what people are saying, what conversations are people having. And on that note, check out my interview with Abukayo Murunga where we were talking about teenage pregnancies. But yes, do stay in touch. Look at Twitter conversations, join Twitter conversations, have conversations with people, go to events where things are happening in your space, from the beauty to fashion to social change. Be in those spaces so that you're always in touch. And also read widely so that you understand all these topics. Never stop improving. If there's an online course you can do that can help you to be more knowledgeable, do it. Yes, just keep building yourself, and trust me, as you go on, you will see the growth. The growth is not immediate, but it is possible. It is very possible. I can tell you for sure. I am not where I want to be, but I can tell you for sure that growth is very, very possible. Just stay focused, stay humble, and stay kind. That was my bonus point. Now I have a bonus plus point. Check out my video where I was talking about women I admire. And in that video, you'll see I was talking about Lavi Ajayi. Lavi Ajayi is a Nigerian author, blogger, speaker, and all that. And what I really liked from her journey is that she was saying she's a 17-year overnight success. And you can see that she started a blog in 2003. But right now, she has written a book. That book is earning her money. She is a public speaker. Speaking is giving her money. She's directing shows. That is giving her money. So trust me, it's not just the writing that gives you the money. It is also like the different dynamics of being in that space. It's just that you need to build a brand. Like, brand awareness is really important. Let people understand what you're selling. Not just what you're telling, but what you're also selling in whatever field you are in. Thank you for tuning in to Cynthia Untamed. This is your youthful and educational platform. Tweet me at Cynthia_Oprah. Find me on Instagram at CynthiaOprah_Nyongesa. And let's see you in the next video. Make sure you leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend.